Hey, what's up guys, it's Justin. I know you're probably wondering where the past weekend's movie review was, and honestly, nothing really came out. So without further ado, I'm going to give you my season review for Netflix's Castlevania. So in season 1 of this series, Dracula has a wife that lives in the town of Wallachia. Basically, the clergy members of this town believe she's a witch, so they have her burned at the stake, and Dracula just wreaks havoc on this town. Devastated by the loss of his wife, he not only wants to wreak havoc on Wallachia, but all humankind. If you haven't checked out the first season, I suggest doing so. It's only 4 half-hour episodes long, and you can breeze through it in one sitting. So fast-forwarding a little bit, season 2 takes place with Trevor Belmont, Sypha, and Alucard fighting side by side to get to Dracula and his minions. So on the flip side, Dracula decides to form this war council composing of all these different vampires and 2 human characters, Isaac and Hector. Fans might recognize that name from another Castlevania game. So in short, that's our main plot. This season consists of 8 episodes, which actually gives the show more time to thrive, put more fan service in there, and actually kind of feel for these characters. I do think if they made a season 3, it would probably benefit from maybe doing 10 episodes, because I think you can fit just a bigger overall plot in that. So for those who aren't familiar with the series yet, Trevor Belmont is voiced by Richard Armitage, who actually played Thorin in the Hobbit series. And, funny enough, Dracula is voiced by Graham McTavish, who played Dwalin in the same series. I'm not too familiar with the voice cast in season 2. There is Peter Stormare, who plays the bad guy in everything, and he did a good enough job, but overall, with Richard Armitage and Graham McTavish and everyone else, the voice acting was pretty good. I mean, there was a few moments where I feel like they could have just sold it more to show more emotion to the characters. For what it wasn't bad. I would just love the voice actors to step it up a little bit next season. The animation looks great in this season. Everything is crisp and clean, and from the looks of it, it looked like they got maybe a higher frame rate. That could just be me being crazy, but everything looks a lot more smooth. One thing I'm really happy about is a lot of anime shows and cartoons have been doing this recently. They've kind of had this 3D CGI look for certain things within the cartoon, and it just really stands out and doesn't look right. I only really saw this maybe once in this show, and I'm really glad because the colors were nice and vibrant and the fighting was just seamless and looked fantastic. So for those who've watched the first season, this plot obviously follows the plot of Castlevania 3 Dracula's Curse. And so with that, you're going to be seeing some things in this season that are tied directly into the game, and hell, into other games as well. You can just tell that the creator of this is a huge fan of the franchise, and a lot of little things he put in here went a long way. So not only is there a ton of fan service when they're in Belmont Manor, but actually later in the series when they go into the castle, there's so much fan service. There might be certain music that you've heard before. There might be certain moves you see the characters doing or summoning that just reminds you of these old Castlevania games. And there's a scene where Trevor and his 2 companions go into Belmont Manor, and Trevor finds this treasure chest, and when he opens it up, I was like, oh shit! One of the big issues I had in the season was they finally kind of wrapped everything up in a great way, and then they just strung it along for so much longer than they needed to. They kind of left it open and mysterious, and you didn't really know where they were going to go. But hey, some people say that's a good thing. So as far as season 3 goes, I'm not sure if they're going to do their own type of unique plot for the 3rd season that's not really related to video games. But if they did, maybe they could pull something from Symphony of the Night or Rondo of Blood or even one of the PS2 Castlevania games, because there's a lot of aspects of the show that kind of point to that. To keep this review short and simple, this season was great. There was a lot of fan service. There was a lot of action. The animation looked smoother. The violence was bigger and better. If I'm really nitpicking, as mentioned earlier, they could have done a little bit better job with the voice acting and kind of extended the show's 8-episode run to maybe 10 to fit more side characters and plot in. I actually liked season 2 a lot more than season 1. It's not like season 1 was bad or anything like that, but this was just so much better. Honestly, if we have to wait another 1.5 years for another season, so be it. But guys, check this season out. 9 out of 10.